Any doubts about Octagonal's greatness were well and truly settled today when the brilliant 3-year-old wrote himself into racing's record books. His win in the Australian Derby at Randwick was his 4th successive Group 1 victory, bringing the classy colt's career prize money very close to $4 million.
The Quarter Post saw another huge crowd flock to Royal Randwick's big day, with the $2 million races the highlight of a busy program. Octagonal's chance for a place in history had more than the horses in a sweat. Connections couldn't wait for another showdown with Nothing Like a Dane and Saintly in the Derby.
There's the big 3 in centre screen.
This year's been a sensational year for 3-year-olds, and it's just one of those years, whether they, might be years before we have it again.
Off and running in the Australian Derby, came away...
As expected, Nothing Like a Dane was up with the leaders early. Saintly and Octagonal content to sit and follow.
Led by a length to Nothing Like a Dane, getting closer, Royce...
As they headed for home, Shane Dye on Nothing Like a Dane hit the accelerator. But then came another nail-biting finish.
And here comes the big O, Octagonal with the last run at them. Falante, Saintly and Octagonal, they've come away from Nothing Like a Dane. Saintly and Octagonal, Beedman throwing everything at Octagonal, he gets there. Yes, Octagonal wins the Derby.
In 16 starts, Octagonal has now won 10 and finished in the placings on the other 6 occasions. And not since the great Kingston Town has racing had such an idol.
He only wins by short margins, but that's what it's all about.
On the New South Wales TAB, Octagonal paid $2.20 and $1.20, Saintly $1.60 and Falante $2.40. In the Doncaster, Gay Waterhouse made it 3 in a row when the injury-prone Sprint By fooled everyone. While Waterhouse missed out with Nothing Like a Dane in the Derby, her 4 horses in the Doncaster ensured the First Lady of Australian racing wasn't to be denied.
Dana Singer looks to have got to a narrow lead over Sprint By as they get near home. Juggler is flying late. Sprint By!
Gay Waterhouse, I want to marry you. You've done a great job with this horse.
Sprint By paid $13.20 and $5, Dana Singer $4.30 and Juggler $1.90. Clinton Fletcher, National 9 News.
I wouldn't go that far, Glenn. Now, the 2 other highlights at Royal Randwick today, the Adrian Knox Stakes, which was a rehearsal for the Oaks to be run next Saturday, and Eureka Jewel, a top Victorian filly, charged home to give jockey Stephen King the first leg of a winning double. Right down the middle of the track is Bravo Zulu. Esther Kelly and Usher are fighting it out. Eureka Jewel's after them now. Eureka Jewel is rapidly overhauling Esther Kelly and Usher. Eureka Jewel takes the lead. She's too good, the Victorian filly, and she races away to win easily at the finish. Eureka Jewel, 6-4 favourite. Usher, second at 20-1. And Esther Kelly ran third, starting at 16-1. Cornwall King put in a sterling Sydney Cup trial in the chairman's handicap. Kingstown and Ceto Bridge, but Cornwall King has burst clear 100 out. In second place, Ceto Bridge, Racing Rider charging late, but Cornwall King's hanging on. He's too good, the King. Cornwall King beat Racing Rider. Ceto Bridge third, followed... And they'll know he's there in the Sydney Cup next week. Cornwall King, Stephen King at 9-1. Racing Rider at 9-2, Ceto Bridge third favourite at 9-4. Ken, 40,075 people at Randwick, the biggest crowd at the track since 1979.
Everybody was there, including Edgar Brett.
That's right.
Great old jockeys. The bumper weekend of Easter Rugby...
Decade, and that's exactly what the punters got at Royal Randwick today. A mighty finish to the AJC Derby from champion 3-year-old Octagonal. The win taking the Colts prize money over the $4 million mark.
It was back in 1980 that the last 3-year-old dominated the Autumn Carnival. His name, Kingston Town. Today, some famous faces packed into Royal Randwick to see if the John Hawkes trained Octagonal could create history. A victory in today's AJC Australian Derby would give him the Grand Slam, the Derby, Mercedes Classic and Canterbury and Rosehill Guineas in successive races, a feat never before achieved. The hurdles, Nothing Like a Dane and Saintly, only the second meeting of the big 3 in this, the Derby of the decade.
Off and running in the Australian Derby, came away in a nice even line.
The Gay Waterhouse trained Nothing Like a Dane was out with interval as they turned for home, but that was when Octagonal made its charge for a classic Derby finish.
Saintly and Octagonal, Beedman throwing everything at Octagonal, he gets there, yes, Octagonal wins the Derby.
Octagonal home ahead of Saintly and Falante for a place in history.
The best horse in the world. Here.
Jockey Darren Beedman celebrating a great victory, Octagonal proving its championship qualities.
He's just all class, he's beat 600 from home. He's just pulled out all stops and
once I got so many of the lead, I thought he was some chance, and I was surprised that Saintly kicked on so well. But once I got my head in front, 100 metres from the line, I knew they couldn't beat him. He's just so courageous.
Yeah, well, I think that's good for racing, and I've just been lucky enough and privileged enough to be training a horse of that calibre. But there's been other horses, but I think, there's been too many better than what he is, I don't think.
Beatman then looked for the perfect double as he lined up on Pharaoh in Randwick's $1 Million Mile, the BMW Doncaster Handicap. And the massive crowd at Randwick once again treated to a superb race with yet another magnificent finish.
Dana Singer looks to have got to a narrow lead over Sprint By as they get near home. Juggler is flying late. Sprint By wins the Doncaster from...
Sprint By doing exactly that, with Glenn Boss on board, second Dana Singer, with Juggler third.
A great training performance by Gay. Like, this horse couldn't probably walk on Sunday last week, and she's got him here to win a Group 1 race. It's just a great training performance.
Trainer Gay Waterhouse triumphant in the Doncaster for the third year in a row.
Well, it's fantastic. It must be my speciality. Lee has the Goldens that drive the Doncaster.
Top Victorian cross-country jockey Brian Constable escaped injury in a nasty fall at the Oakbank meeting today in South Australia. The main race won by Light Hand.
Light Hand, who finished second in this race last year, successfully cleared the closing fences to establish a huge lead.
Rare Vintage further back behind those, and then Prince Trace, who's lost a bit of ground, and well back Raff and Tears heads the others. The jumping's all over, bar the last in the straight, and it's Light Hand, a space in front. Light Hand has careered away. He's 5 or 6 in front. Here he comes, he's up, but he's over, and he's home for victory, Light Hand. He's dashed away. The interest is in the minors. Donegal runs on, and then came Gold Fever, and they were followed battling away over on the outside of those running on Impulsive Risk, but Light Hand has done it very softly, and I think we've produced a very short price favourite for Monday's CUB Great Eastern Steeple.
And top Victorian cross-country jockey Brian Constable came to grief in the 4th race of the day when his Mount Sabib fell at the 1400 hurdle. Jockey and horse escaped injury.
Stick around. Coming up next on Sports Tonight, a complete wrap of Soccer's Ericsson Cup. Damon Hill's bid for 4 straight Formula 1 wins, and the cricket season's not over yet for the Wars, all 4 of them.